Hi, today I want to share with you the simple method that I use when I'm planting my seeds to know how far to plant my seeds in my garden. I'm Kayla with 5 Canadian Acres, and here we are at the end of May. No more frost in our sight, so we are planting out all our seeds. Now I know everybody learns differently. Some people like numbers and metrics, and if that's you, then most of your packets of seeds will have how far apart to plant them, how deep, etc., etc. So go ahead and follow that. But I have a really hard time remembering all these numbers, and I like to know like a practical way. That's how my brain works. My number one thing to remember when I'm planting my seeds out is to know the mature size of my plant. For example, if I'm planting carrots, it's going to need about this much space per carrot. That's how big the footprint of my plant will be. But that's how far apart I'll plant my seeds. Maybe a little bit closer if you want to thin, but again, I try not to thin, so I just plant them accordingly, and if you have good seeds, your germination rate should be pretty good. For other things, for example, like a squash here that we're going to plant, I know that my squash plants are going to be about this big, so I'm going to plant my seeds probably at least 2 feet apart. And then the other question is, how deep do you plant your seed? Generally, the rule is you want to plant your seed twice as deep as it is wide. So a small little carrot seed is going to not be very far down, whereas a big bean seed is going to be a ½ an inch to an inch in the ground. I'll take you over here and let's plant some seeds. So right now I'm going to be planting my summer squash. I really like these guys. They're a patty pan squash. I know what the size of the plant is, so I'm going to plant these about 2 feet apart. If you're worried about germination, you can put 2 or 3 seeds in the same area and then just thin them when they come up. But here I only have 4 seeds left from last year. So I'm just going to plant 1 per hole and hope that they grow. Now as you can see, these seeds are about a 1/4 inch, ½ an inch wide. So I'm going to plant them about, again, twice as deep. So I'll plant them about that deep. Now we're going to plant some of these. You can't see the picture, but they're a golden zucchini. So basically a yellow zucchini. Really, really tasty. And then lastly, we'll plant this one, which is Cocozelle. I am horrible with pronunciations, but this is just another neat zucchini. You don't really have to plant too many zucchinis because, as any gardener knows, 1 plant will produce enough for your whole neighborhood. But last year I did make some really good, it's an Amish zucchini relish, so I'm going to want to do a lot of that again. Sometimes I'll just, to remember where I am in my row, I'll just use a stick, stick it in the last seed I planted so I know where to start off from. Some plain old green zucchini. And then lastly we'll try this. I have early straight neck, which I don't know, this looks like a yellow zucchini to me. And then when planting your seeds, I always like to make sure I pat on top, and I'm going to go ahead and water them. This way that the seeds don't get washed down. You can pre-water, so water your area first, then plant your seeds, and that way you know that they're not getting washed away. Here I'm going to be planting some carrots, and the seeds are very little, so I'm going to be watering this first. I'm going to try these carrots little fingers. As you can see, the seeds are very little. So all I'm going to do is just make a nice indentation. Now carrots are notoriously hard to plant because they're so little. There is a neat little method you can see where you can mix cornstarch and water, make a gel. Search it up, they'll tell you how to do it. But I just sprinkle them. Just one less step I have to do. So I just kind of like you're salting. If you just slowly grab a few and drop them, like do this motion, roll them out of your fingers, it generally makes a good distance. Now you can plant things closer. If you plant things close, you'll get a smaller vegetable. Seeds want to grow. They basically will just grow to the size you allow them. If you plant things really close together, they're still going to grow. They just won't grow as big. Planting all by itself in the middle of a field, it's going to get to its maximum size. Sometimes I will plant even carrots or lettuce very close together and harvest it as baby greens or baby carrots. I'm actually going to do 3 rows in here. Thinking about the size of a carrot, I can fit 3 rows here because the carrots aren't that big. A big plant's going to need this far apart. So just thinking about that mature size of your plant will easily tell you how far apart you need to plant your things. And this goes for transplants as well. And then because this is already wet, I can just tap over it gently and let them grow. That's how I plant my seeds, remembering that plants want to grow. How far apart you plant them isn't going to make it grow or not. It's going to grow anyways. It's just going to dictate the end size of your plant. There's no right or wrong way to do this. This is just what works for me, and hopefully it can work for you too, or you'll find something that works really well for you. If you check out my recent video about tomatoes, I go into a little more detail too about how far apart I'm planting my tomatoes. And don't forget to subscribe, as I have lots more garden content coming this summer. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.